Good morning, guys. All right, so we're gonna start in a minute. Do you have any question before we start? All right, no question. So just to let you know that your test 3, which is this final test, is in 2 weeks. So next week we're gonna have the last basically course material session, and then in 2 weeks from now we're gonna have question and answer session, which you have also test 3 tested in the same week. So basically that's your last test, and also that's your last lab as well. So lab 9, you can do it today after the class. You can go to lab 9 and do it. You have enough material. You learn enough material to be able to do the lab and lesson 9. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna be. If you don't have any question, I'm just gonna be my PowerPoint. All right, let me share my screen first. All right, so today that session is going to be short. Basically, today is going to be shorter than the other days. The reason is that we only cover one topic, which is markdown. So we discuss only about markdown. It's going to be around an hour and a half. The whole lecture is going to be an hour and a half. We have like 45 minutes to 50 minutes for the first part, and then 45 minutes for the other part as well. So 40 minutes. All right. Can you see my PowerPoint? Yes? No? All right. Okay. Okay, I could hear some faint voice. So I appreciate if you let me know if someone waiting in the lobby so that I can let them in case I'm in full screen. So I might not be able to see who is in the lobby. Okay. Thank you. All right. So today we're going to discuss markdown. Markdown. So what is markdown? Markdown basically is the amount by which the selling price of a product is reduced to determine the sale price or reduced selling price. Okay, so basically markdown. So for example, this camcorder is regularly $500, but the store wants to get rid of it. To get rid of it, make it on sale, and the sale is going to be $100 off. That $100 off is going to be a markdown. So markdown is basically the amount that you reduce the selling price to come to the new selling price, which is called reduced selling price. Okay, so reduced selling price is going to be a regular selling price minus markdown. So basically that's, you have the selling price, and then you have the markdown, which is deducted from the selling price. You come with the new selling price, which is called reduced selling price. Okay, so reduced selling price basically is as a regular selling price minus markdown. Okay, you can also describe markdown in terms of percentage, right? So it's most of the time you get it in terms of percentage, right? If you go to a retail store, you want to buy clothes, let's say 20% off, 30% off, 40% off. That off is a markdown in terms of percentage, right? So the amount of markdown divided by the total sale price multiplied by 100% is a rate of markdown, basically rate of discount, basically the same thing. Discount and markdown are the same thing, okay? So markdown and discount are basically the same thing. Rate of discount, rate of markdown. So basically you mark it down, okay? And the rate of markdown, as I said, is going to be the amount of markdown divided by the selling price multiplied by 100%, okay? So basically when you do markdown, so markdown basically take out your from your profit, right? So basically you have basically the selling price, which is going to be cost plus markup. Then markup is going to be cost plus overhead expenses plus profit. And when you do markdown, you basically reduce your profit, right? So because you're selling it with lower price, and lower price is going to cut on your profit. So then you're gonna reduce the profit. Okay, so that's how it works. You can also extend your merchandising table. So in your merchandising table, you previously had P, E, M, C, and S. Now you're gonna have markdown, which is minus D, and reduced price. Okay, so you had markup, which is gonna be P plus E, right? Profit plus expenses. You have selling price, it's gonna be cost plus markup, right? And now you have reduced selling price, it's going to be selling price minus markdown. Okay. All right. So, any question until now? All right. No question. Let's go for example. A hat regularly sells for 62 bucks. Calculate the rate of markdown if it was sold for $49 during a sale. Okay. So now regularly the sell price was $62. Now it becomes $49, right? So the reduced price is $49. How much is the markdown? Basically 62 minus 49, right? It's going to be marked down $30, $13. And what's the rate of the markdown? It's going to be the D divided by S, right? So D, which is the amount of markdown, divided by S, the selling price, multiplied by 100%. Okay, so it's going to be 20.97%. Okay. So that's how we calculate the rate of markdown. Okay. All right. All right. Another example here. A retailer purchased umbrella for $9 each and marked them up by 40% on the selling price. Okay. So 40% of selling price is going to be markup, right? So and the cost for the retailer to purchase is $9. Okay. At the beginning of the year, the retailer marks down the umbrella by 10%. Okay. Calculate the amount of markdown and reduce selling price of the umbrella. Okay. So in this case, first of all, we want to know what's the selling price, right? So first of all, we need to know what's the selling price. After we find the selling price, then we deduct 10% of it. So it's going to be reduced. It's reduced selling price. And 10% of that is going to be also the markdown. Okay. So basically, first of all, we need to find what's the selling price. Okay. So let's make the equation here. So we have selling price is equal to cost plus markup, right? So markup in this case is going to be 40% of the selling price. So markup is 0.4 S, right? 0.4 S. So we put this in the equation here. So S selling price is cost 9, right? Store cost $9 each, right? 9 plus 0.4 S, right? Markup. Cost plus markup plus 0.4 S. Now basically we wanna basically find what's S, right? So to find what's S, we need to deduct the 0.4 S from both sides of the equation. So that take this guy on the left side, okay? From right side, take it to left side. So it's gonna be like this. So this is 1S minus 0.4S, which is going to be 0.6S, right? 1S minus 0.4S. 1S minus 0.4S, right? It's going to be 0.6S. And now you isolate for S. S is going to be 15, okay? So $15 is going to be selling price. Now, what's a markdown for this? If it's 10%, 10% markdown, 10% of this guy is going to be marked down. So markdown is going to be 0.1S, right? 10% of S. Which is going to be $1.5, right? $1.5. And then calculate the reduced selling price. Reduced selling price is going to be selling price minus markdown, right? So it's going to be reduced selling price is going to be selling price 15 minus D, right? So it's going to be $13.5. So that's a reduced selling price. Okay. Any question? All right, let's do an example together, okay? Okay, a store applied a markup of 25% selling price on an item that costs $45 per unit. During a sale, the store marked the item down by 45%. Calculate the regular selling price of the good, calculate the reduced selling price of the good, okay? I'll give you guys 5 minutes for this. All right, so we got some answers here. Okay, some B and some C. So let's see which one is right. Okay. C is right. Okay. All right, so this is very similar to the last example which is solved, right? So, okay, so let's do it together. So basically, 25% of the selling price is going to be markup, right? And $45 is going to be the cost for the item, right? So then we use the same equation, right? So the markup is going to be 25% of selling price, right? So markup is going to be 0.25 multiplied by S, right? So we use the equation of selling price is going to be cost plus markup, right? So selling price, in this case, S is equal to 45 plus markup, which is going to be 0.25 S, right? So S is going to be 45 plus 25 S, right? Now you want to isolate for S. You want to know how much is the S, right? You want to know how much is the S. So how do we do it? We get rid of this guy from the right side, put it on the left side. How we do it? We just basically deduct 0.25 S from both sides. So you have 1S minus 0.25 S is equal to 45 plus 25 S minus 25 S, okay? So these guys eliminate each other, right? So you get 1S minus 0.25 S is equal to 45, which is going to be 0.75, right? 1 minus 0.25 is going to be 0.75, right? So 1 minus 25 is going to be 0.75 S equal to 45, and S is going to be 60, okay? So S is 60, selling price is 60. Now the markdown is 45% of this guy, of S, right? So 45% of the S is going to be markdown, right? So markdown is 0.45 multiplied by 60, which is going to be 27. So that's your markdown. And the reduced selling price is going to be, or the regular selling price, 60 minus markdown, right? So it's going to be 33. So the correct answer is 33 and 27. And the correct answer is basically $60 regular selling price and 33 reduced selling price, right? $60 selling price and reduced selling price 33. Okay. Any question? So the only tricky part of this question is that you need to make that equation, right? So you need to make this. You need to put this equation as a function of S, as a function of selling price, right? You have to put everything in the function of selling price and then solve for selling price. That's basically the tricky part of this question, okay? So that you put basically S equal to 45, which is cost plus 25% of the S, right? 25% of selling price. So you have this equation. You have one variable which you don't know what it is, right? The S. This S variable, you don't know what it is, right? And you have to solve for S, okay? How do you solve it for S? Basically, you have to do whatever you have a factor of S to one side and whatever constant you have the other side. So you have to take this guy to the left side, okay? Get rid of it from right side. So how do you do it? Just you deduct it from itself, okay? From the right side, and you deducted the same thing from the left side, okay? So now you have 1S minus 0.25 S is equal to 45, right? So which is going to be basically 75S equal to 45, S equals 60. So as I said, the tricky part, just make that equation and then solve for S, okay? That's just the tricky part of this equation. Tricky, I wouldn't say tricky, but I mean the way you solve it, okay? So you have to basically make equation of one unknown, which is S, okay? And if you have a basic linear algebra, you can solve it very easy, okay? Any question here, guys? All right, so no question. Let me see who's in the lobby. All right, no one is in the lobby as well. So let's go for another example. All right, so this example, I'll give you a few minutes for this as well. A store purchased iPod for $300 each, okay? So the cost is $300. Its overhead expenses are 10% of the cost. So you have the overhead expense, 10% of this guy, okay? Now you want an operating profit of $100. Okay, so you have overhead, you have the cost, and you have the profit. Okay, so you generally have then you have the selling price, right? The store cannot sell their ARPA at the regular selling price, so you cannot sell it at that selling price, and mark down the price by $50. Okay, calculate the rate of markdown and the reduced selling price. Okay, this is easy, so you can give you 3 minutes for this. All right, so let's see what's the answer here. Oh wow, another D. So D should be right then. Yeah, D is right. All right, this is a easier question than the other one. It doesn't have any variable to solve. Basically, you have the cost, you have the overhead, which is a percent of the cost, and you have also operating profit, right? So you basically have the selling price already, right? So it's going to be cost plus expenses plus profit, right? So first of all, the expenses are 10% of the cost, right? So 10% of $300 is going to be $30, right? So now selling price is going to be cost plus expense plus profit. So 30 plus 3 plus 300 plus 330 plus 100 is going to be 430. So it's going to be regular selling price. Now you mark it down for $50, right? So $50 less. So it's going to be rate of markdown is going to be 50 divided by 430. It's going to be 11.63. And the reduced selling price is going to be selling price 430 minus markdown, right? So it's going to be 380. So 380 is the reduced selling price, and rate of markdown is 11.63. Okay, so the answer is D, right? D. Answer is D. That's right. Congratulations to you guys. One more question here. A fashion boutique has operating expense of 50% of the selling price, okay? And operating profit of 55% of the selling price. Okay. So you have operating expenses. Expenses is 15% of selling price, so it's like 0.15 S, right? And operating profit is going to be 0.55 S. During a sale, it's just marked down by 50%. Okay. So what was the sale price if the dress cost 300 each? Okay. So basically, you have the cost. Okay. So first of all, you have the cost, you have operating expenses and profit, and you make that equation, the famous equation. You find for S. After you find S, you have to knock it down by 50% and find the reduced price. Okay. So the reduced price. Okay. I'll give you 5 minutes for this as well. All right, so the answer got a lot of B here. Wow, a lot of B. All right. Yeah, that B is right. Okay, congratulations to you guys. Okay, so how we do it? Basically, you can calculate the markup, or you can just directly go use the equation. It's up to you. So you can calculate markup. Markup is going to be expenses plus profit. Expenses is 0.15s, profit is 0.55s, right? A function of selling price. So then the markup is going to be 0.70s, right? So 15 plus 55 is going to be 0.70, right? 0.7. Okay. So selling price is going to be cost plus markup. So it's going to be 300 plus s plus 0.7s. Or you can do that. You can say selling price is cost plus expenses plus profit. It's going to be cost plus expenses 0.15s plus profit 0.55s, and then you come up with this. Okay, it's just up to you. So which one do you want to use? So it's going to be s is going to be 300 plus 7.7s, and then you have to put from the right side to the left side, right? So you have to move this guy 0.7s to the left side, so that you isolate for s. Okay, then you isolate for s. So it's going to be 1s minus 0.7s is going to be 0.3s. So s is going to be 300 divided by 0.3. It's going to be 1,000. Okay, so that's a regular selling price, but it marked down by 50%. Okay, so it means the markdown is 0.5s, right? So 0.5 by 1,000 is going to be 500, right? And then the reduced selling price is going to be selling price, which is 1,000 minus markdown, right? It's going to be 500. Okay. So reduced price. So the result, the answer is going to be 500. Okay. Any question here? All right, no question. Let's go for another example. So a store purchased camcorder for 500 each. Okay, so the cost for camcorder is 500. Its overhead expenses are 15% of the cost. Okay, so the overhead expenses is going to be 15% of 500, and it wants an operating profit of 250. Okay, so this guy and this guy and this guy together give you a selling price. Okay, but the store cannot sell their camcorder at the regular selling price and mark the price down by $100. Calculate the rate of markdown and reduce selling price. It's very easy, right? So you have $500 for camcorder cost, and the cost is $500. 15% of the cost, 15% of 500 is going to be overhead expenses, and profit is $250. So you can use basically. So expenses is going to be 15% of 500, 75, and calculate the selling price. Selling price is going to be cost 500 plus expenses, which is 75. You have to find it. 15% of that guy is going to be 75 plus profit, right? Profit is 250. So sum up together, so 825, but cannot sell it at 825. It has to mark it down by 100. So markdown is 100 divided by 825. The rate of markdown is going to be 100 divided by 825, which is the selling price. So it's going to be 12.12%. It's going to be the rate of your markdown. And the reduced selling price is going to be selling price 825 minus markdown, right? So reduced selling price is going to be selling price minus markdown, which is going to be 825 minus 100. So it's going to be 725. Okay. Any question? All right, so let's do for another example here. Okay. This example I added because this PowerPoint was too short, so I added this example from a video recording of the lecture. I can give you guys a few minutes to solve this. Let's see how difficult it is. Okay, a laptop has a regular price of 1,200. Okay, so the price of the laptop is 1,200. The overhead expenses of 12% of the cost, and regular profit is 15% of the cost. Okay. During a sale, laptop was marked down by 30%. What's the new profit or loss during the sale? Okay. All right. So in this case, you have the selling price. Okay. The selling price is 1,200. Okay. And and basically the overhead and the profit is a function of cost. So you can find what's the cost, right? So you can find what's the cost, and after you find the cost, then you reduce the price by 30%. See whether that's okay. So it's a little bit complicated than usual. So I'm just going to solve it myself. I was thinking to give you guys a few minutes to solve this, but I think I'm going to solve it myself. Okay. All right. So let's do it. Let's do it together. I'm just going to open a paintbrush. Oh yeah, you get some people waiting in the lobby. All right. So all right. Let's go back to the question. So the selling price is 1,200. So sell price is 1,200. Okay. And now the overhead expenses is 12% of the cost. So overhead expenses is 0.12 of cost. And profit is 15% of the cost. Profit is 0.15 of cost. Okay. So now, so first of all, let's find the cost. Okay, let's find the cost first. S equal to C plus E plus P. Okay, so 1,200 is equal to C plus 0.12 C plus 0.15 C. Okay, so it's going to be 1 plus 12 plus 15, which is going to be 1.27, right? So 1.27 C is going to be 1,200. Okay. So C, okay, let me just do this. So C, the cost is going to be 1,200 divided by 1.27, okay, which is equal to, I forgot to bring my calculator up. So let's do the calculator here. Sorry guys, take me some time to get the calculator up. All right. All right. Okay, so 1,200 divided by 1.27. 1,200 divided by 1.27, which is equal to 944.88. So 944.88 is going to be the cost. Okay. All right. So now what's the question? The question is that, let's go back to the question. The question is that you're going to say laptop was marked down by 30%. So we need to find what's the markdown. Okay. So what's the markdown? D is going to be 30% of the price, 0.3 of 1,200, which is going to be 360. Okay. So now, say with this new price, with this basically, so S reduced is going to be S, which is 1,200 minus markdown, right? 1,200 minus markdown 360, which is going to be 1,200 minus 360, 1,200, sorry, minus 360 is going to be 840. So 840 is going to be a reduced price. Okay. Now with this markdown price, right? So with this S reduced, are we still profiting or not? So the question is this. So let's make the equation again. S reduced is equal to C cost plus expenses plus profit reduced, right? So the profit now is reduced. Okay. Profit reduced. So S reduced is 840. Cost is going to be the same, right? So cost doesn't matter how much is your marked down or how much is your marked down or markup. The cost is going to be always the same, right? The cost is 944.88. And your overhead expense is always the same, right? So you have always overhead expenses of 0.12% of the cost. So it's going to be 0.12 multiplied by cost 944.88 plus profit reduced. So profit reduced is going to be 840 minus this guy. Okay, I call this guy A. Okay, minus A. All right, so let's calculate this. Let's calculate A first. 944 plus 0.88 plus 0.12. 944.88. Okay, so we're going to 1.112 multiplied by 944.88 equal to 1058. So this A is going to be 1058.26. And so let's store it at number 1. And now 840 minus A. So 840 minus, we call 1, equal to minus 200. It's going to be minus 218.26. Minus 218.26. So basically profit reduce. You don't make any profit. So you have a loss of 218.26. Okay. So basically, you not only don't make any profit, but you lose 218 bucks on reducing the price. Okay. So 218.27. Okay. Yeah. So it was one of the most complicated questions you can find. Right? So it's still pretty manageable. You just in this case, the expenses and profit are a function of cost. Okay. It give you selling price. The selling price 1200. Okay. But the function of cost, you find cost first. After you find cost, then basically you find the reduced price, which is 840. And then from that reduced price, basically you have to deduct the break-even price, which is going to be C plus E, right? So C plus E is the break-even price, and to find the basically profit reduce. And in this case, profit reduce is negative number. Okay, cost plus expense is always the same, right? So cost plus expense is always the same and called break-even price. You can play with the profit. Okay, but cost plus expense is always the same. It's called break-even price, right? That we discussed before. Any question on this, guys? Any question? All right. If you don't have a question, we basically can dismiss the class now, and we can reconvene in 15 minutes. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. Let's do that and go for the second part of the lecture. Okay. All right. So dismiss the class. We will come back at 10:55. Okay. So 10:55 we reconvene together. Okay, guys. Okay. So see you in 10:55. Okay. Okay, guys. All right. All right, welcome back. We will start in a minute. Any question until now, guys, before we start the second part of the lecture? The second part is going to be extension of the same thing which we discussed in the morning. So basically, more application of the markup and markdown. So any question? I'm just going to bring up my PowerPoint then. You can see it, right? You can see my PowerPoint, right? Yes?
Yes, Professor.
All right, sounds good. All right, the application of markup and markdown. We discussed this in this lecture. So if the markdown, so you have three scenarios, right? So if the markdown is less than profit, okay, so means that you reduce the price to the with the markdown, right? So you reduce the price of the value of markdown, but the markdown is less than profit, right? So it means you still have some profit, right? So for example, if your profit is like $50, but your markdown is $40, right? So you still have a profit of $10, right? So so basically, then the reduced profit will be positive, right? So if the markdown is less than profit, then the reduced profit will be positive, right? Also, the reduced selling price estimate will be greater than break-even price, right? The BE is the break-even price. Therefore, there will be reduced profit at the sale price. Okay, so in the case that markdown is less than profit, for example, profit is $50, but your markdown is $40, right? You still have $10 reduced profit. You still have a profit, which is very good, but your profit is reduced, right? So with the amount of profit minus markdown, right? And your reduced price will be bigger than BE. BE is a break-even, right? Break-even is going to be cost plus expenses, right? So cost plus expenses, so your reduced price, because you still have a profit, is more than break-even price, right? Therefore, you will have reduced profit at the sale price, okay? If the markdown is equal to profit, okay, then the reduced profit will be zero, right? That's obvious, right? You have $50 profit, but you have $50 markdown, so it means that your profit is completely gone, okay? So then basically reduced profit will be zero, and your reduced selling price will be equal to break-even price, right? Because break-even price is going to be cost plus expenses, okay, and no profit. Therefore, there will be neither profit or no loss at sale price, okay? And in case that your markdown bigger than profit, then reduced profit will be negative, means that you have lost money on that sale. Also, the reduced sale price will be less than break-even price, okay? Therefore, there will be loss at the sale price, okay? So they have three scenarios. So let's look at these scenarios basically in terms of graphic. If markdown is less than profit, then the reduced profit will be positive, and the reduced selling price will be greater than break-even price. There will be a reduced profit at sale price. Okay, so in this case, markdown is less than profit, so you mark it down, right? So you mark this is basically regular selling price, cost and markup, profit, overhead, and cost, and now you mark it down with the value of D. So then you have reduced price, and also you mark it down here. So the markdown is less than profit. Okay, so markdown is that's a profit. You markdown is less than profit. You still have a profit. You still have a black zone, right? So black zone is a profit. So you still have a profit because your markdown is less than the profit. Okay, your markdown is less than profit. You still have a profit. You have reduced profit. So your profit is still positive. Okay, that's in the case that markdown is less than profit. Okay. So reduced profit is positive, and reduced profit is going to be reduced selling price, okay, minus cost minus expenses minus break even basically. So reduced selling price minus break even price is going to be reduced profit, right? That's C and E is going to be break even, right? So C plus E is a break even price, right? So basically reduced price minus break even price is going to give you reduced profit, okay? So reduced profit is basically selling price, reduced selling price, which is green, minus overhead expenses minus cost, okay? That's your reduced profit, okay? And in other words, you can also express the reduced profit as the original profit, right? Original profit minus markdown, okay? Original profit minus markdown is gonna give you reduced profit. This equation is easier, right? So you know the old profit, you just minus markdown is give you a reduced profit. You can use both equations, but this I think is easier to remember. So your old profit minus markdown is going to be reduced profit. So case 2, if the markdown equal to profit, then basically you knock down the price. You knock down the price with the amount of markdown, the amount of profit, knock down the profit to 0, basically. Okay. So now P equals 0, and S reduced, the reduced price is equal to cost plus expenses, which is going to be break even, right? So break-even price, as we discussed last week, break-even price is a price of cost plus expenses equal to the price. Okay, that's the worst decision that you can make in business. That you put your basically price equal to cost plus overhead expenses. Okay, and forget about profit. I did, believe me or not, I did it one time and I lost. That was a very big project. I basically gave a proposal with my company. It was millions of dollars actually, and unfortunately, I didn't calculate the profit on that. I was so excited to get that project, so I just calculated the cost and overhead expenses, and I forgot. I don't know. I was just so immature that I didn't put any profit on that thing. So and that project failed. So after a few years of running, so yeah, that's very important to put the profit on any sale you make. If you make a project, or if you're selling something, making a profit is very important. So you have cost, you have to calculate overhead expenses very precisely, and also you have to add basically a profit. Okay, so as I said, reduced price in the case of that markup is equal to profit is equal to break-even price, which is going to be cost plus overhead expenses. Okay. All right. So the third case and the last case is markdown is greater than profit. Okay. If markdown greater than profit, then you knock down the sale price significantly. That not only take out the profit, but also some part of your overhead expenses. Okay. So basically, that's the third case. In that case, I guess you have loss. How much loss you have in the gray zone, like in this kind of purple gray zone. That's your loss. Okay. And basically, the loss incurred as a new markup cannot cover the operating expenses. Okay. So again, you have the same equation again. The reduced profit, which is in this case, it is a loss, is going to be reduced selling price minus cost minus overhead expenses. Okay, overhead expenses in this case goes up to here, up to top of here. Then you're going to have loss. Okay. So also as we said before, the reduced profit is going to be profit minus markdown. So in this case, markdown is bigger than profit. Then the reduced profit is going to be negative. So it means you have loss. Okay, the 3 cases. So also we can extend the merchandising table, right? So we can so up to now we had up to S reduced. Now we can also add cost and expenses to come to the P reduced. Okay, so P reduced can be like that. So you have M, which is a markup, is P plus E. So it's going to be profit plus expenses, and the S is going to be selling price is going to be markup plus cost, right? Markup plus cost is going to be S. So P plus E is going to be M plus C is going to be S minus D is going to be S reduced minus C minus E is going to be P reduced. Okay, so that's how you read the merchandising table. Okay, P plus E, M plus C, S minus D, S reduced minus cost minus expenses, P reduced. Okay, so that's how you read it. All right, so let's solve an example together. A store that purchased monitor for $500 each. So a store is purchasing already, right? So it's going to be cost, right? The cost for monitors. $500 each, has overhead expenses of $100 on each monitor. The store wants to sell each monitor for an operating profit of $200. So, okay, so 500, 100 overhead expenses, and 200 profits. So we already know what's the selling price, okay? During a sale, it offers a 20% markdown at the sale price. At the sale price, calculate the store's profit loss, okay? So basically, you have the selling price, right? Because you have cost, you have expenses, and you have profit. So you have the selling price, 20% markdown on this price. It's going to give you D, and then you reduce it. You find S reduce, and basically you can deduct profit minus markdown, give you new profit, right? Or you can use S reduce minus cost minus expenses, give you P reduce. Okay, so let's do it together. Okay, so first of all, calculate markup. Markup is going to be P plus E, profit plus expenses. Expenses 100, 200 is going to be 300 markup. And then I calculate the selling price is going to be cost plus markup. It's going to be 500 plus 300. You can either do that, or you can just use the equation at the first place. S equals to C plus E plus P. You have C 500, you have E 100 expenses, and you have P profit 200. So it's going to be 800, right? Now the markdown is going to be 20% of the selling price, which is going to be 20% of 800, right? So 0.2 multiplied by 800, it's going to be 160. That's your markdown. And now you can calculate reduce, because it asks you for profit, right? So you can immediately go to P reduce. P reduce is going to be profit minus D, right? Profit minus D. You can find P reduce, or you can calculate the S reduced using merchandising. Like you can follow the merchandising table. You can find S reduced and then deduct these two guys from it to find P reduce. This either is right. Okay, so let's do it the way that the PowerPoint suggested. That you go to find S reduce. So S reduce, we're going to reduce price is going to be original price minus markdown, right? So original price, which is 800 minus markdown, it's going to be 640. 640 is going to be S reduce. Now we want to deduct the C and E from S reduce to find P reduce, right? So P reduce is going to be S reduce, which is 640 minus C, 500 minus E, expenses. So it's going to be $40 reduced price. Or as we discussed, P reduce can be P, the profit, original profit minus markdown. So it's 200 minus 160, which is going to be 40. Okay, either is right. So, okay. Any question here, guys? All right, so let's go for another example. I give you a few minutes for this, guys. I'll give you 3 minutes for this. A store purchased printer for $200 each, has overhead expenses of $50 on each printer. The store wants to sell each printer for an operating cost of $100. Okay, so you basically have selling price. During a sale, it offers 30% markdown. At sale price, calculate the store's profit or loss. Okay, I'll give you 3 minutes. All right, let's look at the answers here. All right, letter B. Yeah. Yeah, B is right. Okay, so let's solve it together. So the cost, okay, so the cost is 200, the expenses is 50, and the profit is 100, right? So we can calculate the markup first. Markup is going to be profit plus expenses. Profit is $100, expenses 50 is 150 markup. The selling price is going to be is going to be cost plus markup, right? The cost is going to be 200, markup is 150, is going to be 350, right? So that's going to be the selling price. And now we want to know what's the markdown. Markdown is 30% of 30% of the selling price, right? So 30% of the selling price, 0.3 by 350 is going to be 105. Now what you want to know, what's the profit, right? The profit is going to be all profit minus markdown, right? So okay, so let's do it. Let's do the flow of the PowerPoint, okay? So let's find this reduced price first. The reduced price is going to be original price minus markdown, right? So original price minus markdown is going to be 350 minus 105, 245. And now reduced profit is going to be reduced price minus cost minus expenses, right? So the cost and expenses always remain the same, guys, okay? The only thing which is changed is the profit, right? So cost and expenses are always the same, right? The cost of getting the printer is always the same, $200, and the expenses is always the same, $50. Why? Is overhead expenses, right? You pay for electricity, you pay for a staff, you pay for rent, you pay for accountant, you pay for that, or for this. So these are all overhead expenses. It's always the same, unless you basically change your store, unless you change your store, you change your rent, you change your staff. Otherwise, your overhead expenses always going to be the same. So overhead expense is always the same, and the cost of acquiring that item is going to be the same. So cost and expenses are always the same. So you don't change it. So the only thing which change is the profit, right? So basically the profit change when you apply the markdown. When you apply the markdown, the only thing which changes is profit. Okay, so in this case, the new profit is going to be the reduced price minus cost minus expenses, right? The cost and expenses, as I said, it's always the same, always remain the same, right? Why? It's obvious, because basically the cost of acquiring it is going to be the same, and expenses is always the same, overhead expenses. Okay, so basically the reduced price is going to be 245 minus 200 minus 50. The cost is 200, and 50 is going to be overhead expenses, so it's going to be minus 5. So you have a loss of $5. Or you can use the other equation. Reduced profit is going to be original profit 100 minus markdown. Markdown in this case is going to be 105, right? So it's going to be 100 minus 105. It's going to be minus $5, which is going to be loss of $5. Okay. All right. So I added one more example here because the class was too short from the video. So probably I can give you guys a few minutes. Let's see how difficult it is. Okay, the cost of hiking boots is $190 per pair. Okay, so you have the cost. If the expenses are 23% of the cost, so you have the expenses, and regular profit is 30% of the selling price. Okay, so now you have the expense as a function of cost, but the profit is a function of selling price. Okay, but markdown rate will ensure that the store still makes a profit of $10 per pair. I think you guys can do it, right? You find the selling price, and then you apply a markdown so that you have the profit of $10. Yeah, I think you guys can do it. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, let's see who can do it. This is not too complicated, so I think you guys are able to do it. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes for this, and then I will go to Paintbrush and solve it myself with you guys. Okay, 5 minutes. See who can find the answer. Okay, approximate answer is good as well. So, okay, good luck, guys. Let me just All right, let's see. Oh, get a couple of people answered actually. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. I think yes. I think you're right. Around 27%. I think the answer is around 27%. This is good. Okay. So let's do it together. Okay. Let me just open a paintbrush here. Okay. The paintbrush. Now we want to do what do you want to do? We want to okay. Let's look at the question. The cost is 190. So the cost is 190. Expenses 23% of the cost. So expenses is 0.23C, which is going to be 0.23 by 190. So 0.23 multiplied by 190 is equal to 43.7. So expenses is 43.7. Okay. So the profit is 30% of the selling price. The profit is 0.3 of S. Okay. So now let's make the equation. S equal to C plus E plus P, right? So S equal to 190 plus 43.7 plus 0.3S, right? So now we isolate for S, right? So I take S from here to the left side, so it's going to be 0.7S, right? 0.7S equal to 190 plus 43.7. It's going to be 233.7, right? So S is going to be 233.7 divided by 0.7, which is equal to, all right, 233.7 divided by 0.7 equal to 333.85. So 333.85. Okay. That's the selling price. Okay. Now, what's the question? The question is that what's the markdown rate that ensure that the store still make a profit of $10 per pair? Okay. So now we want to find what's the reduced selling price. Okay, that we have $10, still have $10 profit. Okay, so it's already okay. So you already know the expenses and you already know the costs. Okay, so now you want to have a profit of $10. Okay, so S reduce is going to be cost plus expenses plus reduced profit, right? And reduced profit is $10, right? So you have cost, which is now 190. You have expenses, which is 43.7, and you have the reduced profit, which is $10, right? $10 reduced profit. Okay. So this is going to be 247. Oh, sorry. 243.7, sorry, 0.7, right? So it's going to be 243.7, okay? So now you have S reduced, you have S. Now you know what's the markdown, right? The markdown D is going to be S minus S reduced, right? Which is going to be 333.7 minus 243.7, which is going to be 90, right? 333, yeah, so 90, yeah, so it's going to be 90, okay? So, oops, sorry guys. So it's going to be 90. Markdown is 90, And now markdown rate is going to be D divided by S multiplied by 100, which is 90 divided by 333.7 multiplied by 100%, right? Which is equal to 90 divided by 333. So, okay, so 90 divided by 333.7 equal to 26.97. Okay, so 26.97%. Okay.
Excuse me, Prof.
Yeah.
It was 333.85. Not
85. Oh, really? Did I make a mistake here? 85.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. 85. Yes. Okay. 85. Okay. Let's do it. 85 here. Then it's going to be 90.15, right? 90.15. So 90.15 divided 85. 85. 90.15 divided 330. Okay, so let's do it again. 90.15 divided by 333.85. Yes, 27%. Yes, 27%. Okay. Okay, let's just remove this then. Yeah. 20. Oops. 20. 27. Yeah, 27%. Yeah. Thank you very much. Was it Hamanshu? Who is that? Yeah, Hamanshu. Yeah, thank you very much, Hamanshu. All right, so yeah, so 22. Yeah, so it's gonna be 27%. Okay. You see, it's very easy to solve this, right? So you make that equation, you find the S, and then you basically, you see, you make the S the equation. You make the S. You find the S. You have selling price. Now you have reduced selling price. It's going to be cost plus expenses plus reduced profit, which is $10. Okay, so you want to ensure that you have $10 profit. Okay, and then you find markdown, which is going to be this. Let me just remove this guy. Markdown is going to be S minus S reduced, right? And then markdown is going to be this, and then rate of markdown is going to be 27%. Okay, that was a simple question. Okay, not too difficult.
Excuse me, Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
Could you please go through that page that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
third equation is P equal to 0.3 S. Yeah.
Yes, 0.3 S, right? Because
Okay.
profit is profit. Let's look at the question. The question said, and the regular profit, not the reduced profit, right? Regular profit is 30% of the selling price. Okay, so it's going to be 0.3 S. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we put the amount of S as 333.
0.85.
And multiply by 0.3.
Okay, so you get yes,
Mhm.
you get the profit. Yes.
But the profit won't be 10 in this case.
Yes, of course, because you have to apply markdown, right? You want to apply markdown on this selling price. You want to apply markdown to the selling price to come to this profit.
Okay.
$10 profit, right?
Okay.
So you have so 0.3 by 3. This is going to be around $100 profit, right? Okay. But you want to apply markdown so that you come to this profit, to $10 profit, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you understand it?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Sounds good. Right. Any other question, guys? Any other question? All right, if there is no question, let me just go back to these guys in lab and lesson 9, okay? So now you guys can do lesson and lab 9, okay? and you have until April 16, which is going to be like 10 days from now. So you can basically do this. Just don't forget to do it, okay? Because I see a lot of you guys forget to do it. See, the rate is still 85%. So 15% of you guys haven't done it, basically. 15%, right? So it means the class is 40 people, six people haven't even touched these lessons, okay? So it means that they're almost failing, right? Those people are almost failing, okay? So make sure you do lesson 9 and lab 9. It's very easy, guys. It just take you half an hour to do it, okay? Just spend your time, maybe today, just right now after the class, just go to lesson, read the lesson. This is only one person. This give you one person already if you just listen to the lessons, okay? One person already here and 1.5 person here. You have 5 attempts for lab 9, okay? Just do it, guys. Okay, so with today's lesson, you're able to do this. Okay, and yes,
there is a called DEFA test in the Breta. What to do with that, sir?
How much? I barely can hear you. What did you say?
There is a called DEFA test in the Breta.
Oh, deferred test. Deferred test is for people who can't do the regular test, right? So people who can't do the regular test for any reason. Okay, so maybe I don't know. And for any reason they can't do the regular test, then we do the deferred test for them. Okay, so that's not your concern. If you do the regular test, don't worry about deferred test. Okay, deferred test for some people who can't do the regular test. Okay, because all sorts of reasons. Some people cannot do the regular test, that we design deferred test for them so that they do the deferred test. Okay, it's not your concern. Okay, if you do the regular test, don't worry about deferred test. Okay. Okay, so Nathaniel asking a question. Sorry, please, how many percent is for lesson and labs? Okay, so lessons are 1% and labs are 1.5% each. Okay, so it means you have 10 lessons and lab. 10 lessons is going to give you 10%, and 10 labs is going to give you 15%. Okay, so yes, so it's going to be 25% of your mark, right? Final mark, right? It's significant, right? A quarter of your final mark. Okay, Nathaniel. Any other question, guys? Any other question?
Sir,
all right. Yes.
So next week we have another set of lessons, and then the following week we'll do the review.
Yes, exactly. So next week we're gonna have another lecture on basically break-even analysis and cost volume profit analysis. Right. Next week we're gonna discuss this. Okay. And then you can do this lesson and labs next week. And 2 weeks from now is your test 3. Is your test 3 time. Okay, test 3 time is your 2 weeks from now, right? April 17 to April 20. And that's your last test. Okay, and then the class is over. Okay, and the tests are over. And that's your final test. And then you will get your mark by the end of April, and I will post your mark by the end of April to the Blackboard. You can also watch it in see it in Blackboard as well. So I haven't put it in Blackboard. I receive a lot of questions from you guys. Why my mark in Blackboard are not updated? Your mark is not in Blackboard is not updated yet. So I'm gonna wait until the end of the term. I'm gonna update that. Okay. So right now, your most reliable marks are in Breta. So you can see your mark in Breta. Okay. I haven't put it in Blackboard because I don't want to do it every few weeks. I just want to wait until the course is over and export everything to Blackboard. So yeah, right now you can just see your mark on Breta. Okay.
Is there any exam for this course?
Example? What do you mean example?
Exam, sorry, sir. Exams.
No, these are exams. These tests are exams. Your exams. Test 1, test 2, and test 3. They are your exams. Okay. These are your exams. Online. Okay. Easier for you guys, right? You can take it out of your home, so you don't need to go anywhere. Any other question, guys? All right, that's all.
Question, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. So have a good weekend, and see you guys next week. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.